Can former governor of Indiana and former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence win the Republican nomination for the 2024 U.S. presidential elections? How's it going, everyone? This is Christian Duke. You're watching Everything Else Channel on YouTube, everythingelseChannel.com, coming soon. It's an interesting question because I don't think a lot of people like Mike Pence because they believe that he betrayed Donald Trump, because he didn't deny to certify the election, even though he constitutionally wasn't able to do that. I think they also despise him because he went to Joe Biden's inauguration, which I'm glad that he did, because it provided some transition, something good for history's sake, whereas Trump just left and wasn't there to hand over power. And it just, that's Trump for you. But I got to tell you, though, he didn't think it was a legitimate election, and so that's on him. But, Mike Pence, to me, is going to do very poorly. Even if, let's say that Donald Trump is deemed ineligible, let's say that he's convicted, let's say that he has to go to prison, which I don't think he's going to go to prison, guilty or not. I don't think that enough Republicans are going to come out for Mike Pence. Now, what he really needs are conservatives, because he's really, at the end of the day, he's a conservative. He's a strong fiscal conservative and a strong social conservative. And if there was ever a person that embodied both theories, because a lot of times it's either or, you're either a fiscal conservative or you're a social conservative. It's very rare that you are both, as in the case of Mike Pence. He needs that conservative base. And that conservative base, which originally fell under the Never Trump category, has become the most ardent Trump supporters of all. So, excuse me. So I know, I'm so sorry. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. It's really bad to keep a burp in. It isn't healthy. So I know a lot of people are gonna be like, how can you belch out loud when talking about such revered leaders in our country as Mike Pence and Donald Trump? You should have a lot more respect, for these messianic leaders. But I just, I had to burp. So the reality of the matter is that, I'm curious what's going to happen. I don't think Mike Pence is going to even win Indiana. I don't even think he's going to win his hometown because, Trump supporters hate him. But it's possible that if Trump can't run, but even then, I still don't think they would vote for him on conscience. They just don't like him. That's just the reality. And I don't even think he's going to be eligible for the primary debate, real primary debate, which is happening in, I think, like 40 days or something like that. I don't think he's going to be able to meet the threshold. But we'll see. We'll see. It'll be a boring debate. He's a boring, low-intensity kind of guy, as Donald Trump referred to Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio. And that's just kind of like what Mike Pence is. He's not a bad guy. He is ultra-conservative. He's a man of his principles. He's a man that has a vision. He's a man that has executive experience, not just as vice president, but more importantly, as governor of a state. And, the Indiana roads are crap. They're all falling apart. And I don't know, what he did for that. But, people in Indiana like him. Indiana's kind of like a purple-red state, but more red, I would say. So, they're happy. They were happy with it. If he was to run for governor of Indiana, I don't think he'd win that either. I don't think he's electable. And it's not because he's not a principled conservative. It's not because he's not an honest guy. It's not because he's not a hard worker. It's because of what people perceive that he did to Donald Trump. And so for that alone, unless Donald Trump all of a sudden becomes persona non grata in GOP and conservative circles, which I don't see that happening ever, even with, porn things and lying things, national security things, tax evasion things, all sorts of comments that would haunt most people for their whole lives, like grabbing women and it doesn't seem to have any effect on him. I mean, you've got hardline social conservatives that are wearing MAGA hats, so unless, public opinion on Donald Trump just doesn't about face, then Mike Pence's days as an elected politician are over. He has better chances of knocking it over on Pennsylvania Avenue there at the White House and asking Biden for an appointment to something. I'm serious. I mean, Biden might actually give him undersecretary of HUD or something not so important. Kind of like what Trump gave to Ben White. What's his name? Whatever his name is, doesn't matter. But the guy that ran against them that fell asleep a lot. What was his name? Ben Carson. He gave Ben Carson HUD. I mean, HUD is like, you ever watch that movie Designated Survivor, where like they attack DC and everyone dies and the one last person that's alive is a HUD director? I mean, it's like, but he could be undersecretary to that. You know what I mean? I got a can down there I got to throw away. I drink a lot of these energy drinks. But anyways, guys, Mike Pence, burp in the middle of the video. Want to check that out. Give me grief over that. And answer my question if you think Mike Pence can be the GOP nominee. But try to answer it once you stop laughing, because otherwise you have a lot of typos.